everybody. Bob Ufer here in the chilly snake pit of Columbus, Ohio.
Elliott has the first down and more, and Elliott's going to have a touchdown.
Carr, watch out! Blake Carr, blazing speed. Can he get there? No, but he's down at the Ohio State 11.
Samuel cuts it back. Ohio State wins.
Stroud in trouble, and Stroud is sacked again.
There's nothing quite like the game.
Michigan versus Ohio State, the game of the day, the game of the year, the game of the decade. Call it what you will.
This is the Rivalry.
This is the Rivalry Podcast off-season edition. I'm Jace, that's JP.
What up?
Your garbage-free college football podcast focused only on the Ohio State-Michigan football rivalry. On Twitter, at RivalPod. On Instagram, at 1049 The River. And I guess, JP,
I would like to, can I start this really quick?
Apparently.
I would like to start this with something.
Please go ahead.
Do I want you to say it or do I want Eric to say it? You know what, producer Eric, I want you to get involved in this. Can you tell me Ohio State's record in a football stadium in 2023 against Michigan?
1-0.
Huh. Undefeated, right? Undefeated, right?
It would appear that way.
It would appear that way. 1-0. You heard it here first. Ohio State undefeated in football arenas in 2023.
You know, there's a Bob's Burgers episode where Bob goes, I'm literally grasping at straws. That's what I feel like we're doing.
The entire drive
now.
up to Cleveland. If you were following us on RivalPod on Twitter, you saw that we went to the hockey game. That's what we're referring to. The face-off on the lake. Sick environment. One of the coolest. Really cool. We have a lot of stories that we're going to get into on this podcast regarding that that are honestly a little upsetting. I'm going to get a little bit hot talking about it because where in this entire universe does the orange lot exist?
Find out.
Apparently Cleveland PD doesn't know. So that's a fun time.
Yeah, so that's great. I'm glad that you could get your first win over Michigan in a football stadium since 2019. Frankly, Brian Hartline started off with what do they call it? I'm not a Browns guy. Like
I don't know if it has a name. I mean, it's the Browns do it before every single game.
So Brian Hartline comes out and they hand him Brutus Buckeye hands him a Michigan guitar to smash to kick off the game or whatever.
It's where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. So it's like a nod to that.
It was good to see Brian Hartline leave a football stadium with a win over Michigan. It's been a while for him.
First one is OC.
It's been
many more to come.
It's been a while. No, the stadium experience though was phenomenal. I felt like the rivalry is still intense in a hockey game, but it's not football. So like everyone would get
there are different levels for sure.
But like you got to. Everybody around us was super friendly. I mean, people were interacting really well. There were actually a surprising amount of Michigan and Ohio State like groups of friends besides just us that had all come together.
I would like a little thank you though, because we were offered tickets to actually be in the OSU student section and we did not get those. And Jace, of course, because of who he is, wore his Michigan hockey. It was a hockey jersey, right? Yeah. It was a hockey jersey for Michigan. And we didn't even think about it, honestly, that it would have been in the student section. But man, amazing. Well, they were doing this thing like throughout the game where they would go on an Ohio State fan and everybody would cheer. Then they would go to a Michigan person and everybody would boo. And I am so sad because the people we would have been sitting next to were on the big screen and we would have been right there.
It absolutely
and I know 100% Brutus would have came up and slapped you and I would have loved it.
What's fascinating is that you're like, oh yeah, we didn't know. No, you knew when we were first offered tickets in the student section, you knew it was student tickets and you tried to convince me to go in on it. And I said, well, I don't know if where they were positioned, if we would be able to see or whatever. So let's not. Had I known those were student tickets, dog, there ain't no way.
Fake news.
There is
Don't
no
believe
way.
These lies.
I choose life.
Don't believe.
Ohio State, by the way, does get a win, 4-2. Ice conditions,
garbage,
absolutely horrible. Brian from MGO Blog, phenomenal comment where he said that add making ice in winter to the list of things Ohio sucks at.
I wish we would have kept track of how long we were in delays.
I mean, there were
due
at
to
least
the ice. We took an entire intermission. We did an entire intermission for them to go and fix this. But we had to have been close to a half hour plus of sitting around while they had their little buckets. I don't even know how they fixed that. How do you do that?
I've never seen the referees just say, you know what? Screw it. We're taking our break now.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Look, also same.
And I'll give credit to Ohio State who outplayed Michigan that game. Michigan looked slow. Michigan also, and again, this is not a hockey podcast. I follow hockey.
It is today.
Playing it. Jacob Truscott, Luke Hughes, both out for Michigan on defense, and it looked like it. Michigan's defense struggled that game. Both teams played on the same surface, but Ohio State just looked so much better.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, like Michigan. The ice conditions when you're trailing 3-1 do not help.
Well, I mean, you saw numerous times. You saw numerous times. I mean, early in the game, honestly, Ohio State was kind of the one behind. They weren't really getting any pressure. Michigan spent a lot of time near OSU's goalie, getting some shots up, making some incredible saves, by the way. But you noticed it even for Ohio State. There were a few times, especially near mid-ice, where a guy would be on a break or be open and he'd skate across one of the lines and trip. And then it was just a domino effect of everybody just collapsing with him.
The whole outdoor thing is a cool experience. The downside to it is ice conditions because going into this weekend, this is the last weekend of the regular season in the Big Ten. Is Minnesota has locked in the 1 seed. Wisconsin's at the bottom. Everybody else is within 5 points of each other. 3 points for a win. You play 2 games this weekend. So you do the math. Everybody from 2 to 7 can completely flip right now. To play a game of that caliber that means that much on really bad ice, kind of yikes. But also, if you're Ohio State, you got up early and then you got to kind of sit on it for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's one of those things both teams are playing on it. Yep. So at the end of the day, you can't really use it as an excuse because both teams had to fight against that.
Yep.
So it didn't really, it played a factor in the overall look of the game because I didn't feel like it was as clean as if you would actually go and see it in an arena.
For sure.
But both teams were impacted by it. And it was honestly a really good game. I mean, what was the final was what, 4-2?
4-2, yeah.
4-2. But there were times in the third period where it was
one goal game.
It was 3-2, 2-1, stuff like that. Yeah. And it was more interesting till the late goal. So
the happiest that fans have been leaving a Brown Stadium in quite a while. For the majority of Ohio State
You want to know
fans.
A weird pet peeve of mine when it comes to this?
I'd love to.
We're going to this. Grant, it's at First Energy Stadium where the Browns play. We're going to see not a football game. We're going to see hockey. We're going to see Ohio State and Michigan. And the amount of times that I heard people trying to start Browns chants more than once, which is one more than there should have been, it's not relevant. It's just not relevant. I get that we're in their stadium, cool, whatever. We don't need to start a dog pound chant when they're playing hockey and it's teams that are not even close to the Browns.
Here's what threw me off. And again, because I'm not a Browns guy, I don't know if this is a thing, but I was looking at, because I was going to bring this giant flag and I decided not to because again, I choose life and also almost sat in the Ohio State student section. So, but I was looking at list of prohibited items, and it's a bunch of stuff that you'd expect. And then randomly in the middle of the infographic, bones.
You know what?
It
wouldn't make sense if I didn't know where it was.
I don't know if that's like hey, dog pound, dogs, dog bone. We're going to bring that sort of thing. I don't know if it's a human remains thing. Like, hey, your dad was a big Browns fan. Please don't bring his remains. I don't know what that is, but I've never seen... Hey, please don't. I've never seen anyone have to say that.
It is weird that you would have to, but it makes sense because it is the dog pound, the dog bone kind of thing. People will make necklaces like they do with the buck nut, where they'll have the Buckeyes around like a lanyard thing. They'll do that with dog bones, not real dog bones, but like the fake little plastic ones. And
there's a reason this team has never won a Super Bowl.
Honestly, they deserve it. And that's from a Browns fan.
And also a Lions fan who can't really say much about it.
It's not just a game, it's the game. You're listening to The Rivalry.
Cleveland has been called the Paris of the Midwest.
By Jace right now.
No one's ever called it that. And
You just did. So one person has, in fact.
Those people are liars.
The media.
The media can come at me for that. Cleveland's been called the Paris of the Midwest, and I would take issue with that because here's the deal. We're talking about the game experience itself. Getting into the game.
Let's start from the beginning.
I don't know if you've ever tried to park in a major city. It's not easy, but it's doable. So JP goes ahead and says, hey, I think the best thing to do for Faceoff on the Lake is to buy prepaid parking.
I was just trying to be a good person. I got the email.
Smart.
I got the email from them saying, before you go to the game, here's what you should do. I'm reading through. It's saying, don't bring your person. Don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
Jace, on the other hand,
don't bring
not bringing a flag or bones.
No dog.
So
bones
I'm going down this list and it says, hey, you should prepay for parking here. So I'm like, bet. I'll take care of that. Everything will be done. We'll just go to this lot. It'll be smooth.
$20?
Smooth sailing. It was $22.50.
Okay.
With tax. Amazing.
So we got prepaid parking for the orange lot. Okay.
Yep.
You're going to hear that a lot. The orange lot. Prepaid parking for the orange lot. It's technically, I think it's like the West Third parking, whatever.
It's what I would call the Muni lot if you're a Browns fan. It's where they go and they tailgate before the game, so all
again,
that.
This is Browns Stadium parking. Should be pretty obvious, okay? So we follow the GPS and we try to get there the way that it's telling us to go. And of course, the road's blocked off, even though the GPS says, hey, this avoids road closures. It doesn't. It's like, okay, cool, that's fine. So we pivot and we do a little navigating and we start coming around and we're stuck in traffic and it's getting close to game time. And we're like, okay, I think this is the direction that we should be going. And as I look ahead, the direction that it's trying to send us, that would make sense. The lot should be right over there, closed off again.
Yep.
Now we happen to be next to one of Cleveland's finest.
Love them.
We roll down the window. He rolls down the back window first.
Yep.
Rolls that
Embarrassing.
back up.
We're not taking enough time to laugh at that because how awkward for him to be a man of authority and roll down his back window first. Ugh, I think about that in my sleep.
He rolls down the correct window and JP looks at me and goes, hey, can you tell me how to get to the orange lot?
I'm going to get hot all over again.
And dude is kind of leaning back a little bit and he just kind of looks over and goes, I can't. And just rolls the window back up. And the way he said it.
It was like, did he not know or was he just not willing?
The way he said, I can't tell you, sounded like I know exactly where the orange lot is,
That man knew. It's because you were wearing stupid Michigan.
He couldn't see me.
He could.
It sounded more like, yeah, I know, but I won't tell you. And we're like, okay. Neat.
Bet.
So we thought, okay, well, everybody's going right, so we'll turn right here. So we leave him to do his thing. We're coming through a stoplight. There's an officer in the middle, kind of waving traffic on. And we're like, okay, we'll ask him. So we roll the window down. I'll let you tell this one.
I don't want to, but I will.
Okay, cool.
We get down there,
0 for 1.
and this cop does not seem like he's having a great day. He is stressed. He's flinging people left and right, guiding traffic. And I'm like, I'm going to ask this man because I'm tired of driving, and it's like 20 minutes till game time. So I roll down my window as we're supposed to be going through, and he's waving us forward. And I go, excuse me, sir, do you know where the orange lot is? And he goes, I won't show you. And I look immediately at Eric, our producer, and at Jace, and I go, hold up a minute. He won't show me. What? So I'm like, okay. All right, cool. I'm just going to go home at that point.
Well, okay, to be clear, what he actually said was, I'm not sure, which is not any better.
The way the day had gone. Are we positive?
I love that you heard, I won't show you, though.
That's 100% what he said.
Here's the deal. And listen, they got a tough job. I get it. But if someone who has never been to Cleveland before, can provide about as much helpful information regarding the orange lot as you, an officer of the city, that's an issue to me.
And what makes it worse for me is
can't tell you.
Where I asked the second police officer, to my left, you see First Energy Stadium. It is
like it's there.
It is. I could walk there in 5 minutes from where my car was. It was that close. You are guiding traffic in that close of an area and could not tell me where the orange lot is. I just have zero words.
So at some point, soon after that, in fact, we said, you know what? here's a parking garage for $15. We will pay that.
Which we forgot to add as we were driving around aimlessly trying to find these. We're seeing special event parking for $50, $75. We saw one for 30. We saw one for 100, which if you're paying $100 to park, our tickets combined were $50.
Dog, we parked closer in the $15 parking garage than that $100
Yes.
lot. Oh my gosh.
Did we almost get in a wreck about 9 times? Potentially. I'm looking at you, white SUV that cut in front of me. You guys know what I'm talking about. Both of you know what I'm talking about.
I sure
do. What did I call them?
It's a not safe for podcast.
Yes. You didn't hear that.
It wasn't inappropriate. It was just
a butthead. That's fine.
It was. Yeah. So anyway, the Paris of the Midwest. I was shown a video, a Cleveland marketing video, I guess.
Oh, I'm surprised you've not heard this video before.
I don't know what it's called, but it ends with Cleveland. At least we're not Detroit. I've been to Detroit. I will take Detroit any day of the week.
The only time I've ever been in Detroit was for a Rutgers bowl game against North Carolina.
Which that's a whole.
You know how long ago that was. And I was handed a hip hop country CD by a man on the street. And that is all I've known about Detroit.
You know how many hip hop country CDs we got in Cleveland? 0. Detroit 1. Cleveland nothing.
That's the hill you want to die on?
Cleveland's lovely. It's
beautiful place.
It's beautiful. Game was great. Hey, we will continue to have off-season content. We're trying to do it about every month. Don't hold us to that. Okay, we're very busy. We're very popular. We have 86 followers on Twitter.
We might have gone up a little bit.
You can go. You can help us get to
87.
Be 87 right now at RivalPod on Twitter, on Instagram at 1049 The River. And by the way, make sure if you aren't watching this on River Now, make sure you go over to YouTube, search River Now, find the Rivalry podcast, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, whatever.
Laugh at our dumb little faces.
What's up, you guys? Thanks so much.
The Rivalry is a production of River Radio Ministries. Want live updates from the show? Follow us on Twitter at RivalPod for live tweets, score predictions, contests, and more. And make sure to follow us wherever you're listening now for new episodes every Wednesday. And if you like what you're hearing, tell a friend so they can listen too.